So the security deposit is part of this contract. And the reason why we do that is we don't want there to be any misunderstanding about that we take one and what it's used for and what the purpose is. And that's why we do the security deposit invoice along with the contract. On the rest of the contract, there's a big section. You see I have it circled there. There's a big section that talks about all the different ways that you can drive recklessly. And it's not talking about speed. You can go, these are designed to go really fast. These are Sea-Doo 300s, and they go extremely fast. And so that's not, if you're going really fast, that's not driving recklessly. What they mean is weaving in and out of congested traffic, jumping wakes behind a boat. That is against the rules of the water. In fact, you can get a big fine or a ticket for that. Those are around $500 tickets, so don't do that. If the Sea-Doos come back and there's a crack because you're jumping big wakes, you're responsible for that. So the main thing is just don't jump really big wakes from other boats. Some of those boats create such big wakes you can really damage yourself or machines. Also, if you're driving too close to other boats, which is pretty often one of the ways you can get a ticket, you've got to be 100 feet from any anchored vehicle or moored vehicle, which would be any boat, or if they're even moving, you're supposed to be 100 feet away. The rest of the contract is basically going to just be things about that if you get hurt, it's something that you take the responsibility you take upon yourself. You don't hold TK Watersports responsible for that. Also, it talks a little bit about if you have an issue out there. If there's a mechanical issue, there's issue, it's important that you call us or contact us as soon as you can. We have a policies that you can text us. We usually give you a number to text, and we have you text SOS. That's our code for being on the water. So you text SOS, then you make sure that we know that you're good, you're fine physically, but that there's something wrong with the machine, and then we can try to interact about what to do about it. Okay, so that's the basic contract paperwork. So you'll have a reservation agreement you'll fill out first. That gets you your booking, and then this is part of the DocuSign things that will come prior to your rental. Now there's a few other things that are part of that. We have a Sea-Doo checklist. It's kind of some of the rules. And then we have condition reports. As you can see, there's one for each machine, and there's also an inventory sheet, so we know what you have in terms of inventory. When you launch and retrieve these machines, it's better to walk them in. Yeah, a lot of the problems that we get with scratches and stuff comes when people come in too hard or whatever, and they can damage the machines doing that. We just have you nose it in and then just crank it in with the trailer rope. We have a no beach policy. That means that the machines can't be pushed up on any land or anything like that. That they use some kind of proper anchor technique and keep them always in the water, about waist deep at least. So with the no beaching, even with a really nice sandy beach, if you push them up on that beach, the whole bottom will be, you'll be able to tell. It's just like sandpaper, really harsh sandpaper scraping across the paint. And so the whole under the bottom will be all scraped up. And if that happens, and we take it to to our repair guy, what they normally charge us is anywhere from $650 up to $850 on redoing those bottoms. So just remember, beaching, if you beach it, it can be anywhere from $650 to $800 per bottom. The machines go out clean. We send them out clean, and we expect them to come back clean. If they're not, if our guys, or if we have to pay somebody to do it, we charge $75 for each machine. You will have inventory as part of the machine. Most of what you'll get are going to be bumpers. Usually have a couple of bumpers. You're going to have a couple of ropes to tie up the machines. And in the trailer, you should have some mooring ropes. Those will be listed on your inventory list. There is a no open container or no alcohol policy of ours, but that's also a policy of the water. And so we have to have it on the contract that you're not allowed to drink alcohol while you're operating the machines. If there's any open container with anybody sitting on the machine, you can get a really steep ticket for that. If you have problems, like we said earlier, if you have problems, just you can text us or call us, and then we'll try to work with those problems with you. Usually when you're trailering Sea-Doos, or you get problems because you get in a hurry, and when you're in a hurry, that's when most accidents or most problems with trailering happen. So we just tell you that when you're trailering, doing things like that, you just take your time. The Sea-Doos, we always send them out with a full tank of gas. And then at the end, before you give them to us, you top that off. What we normally do is we'll top them off when they get back. And if they only take a few dollars, we don't charge that. But if it takes, on boats, $10 or more, we charge that. On Sea-Doos, it's more than $3 we charge for that. Okay, so what makes these machines go really fast is you got a little impeller. It's like a boat prop, and it's encased in this round ring, and it stays in there really tight. And they call that a wear ring and an impeller. One of the things that that cost people more than anything is damage to a wear ring and impeller. The ways that can happen, you can get a rope in there, and it gets in there and twirls up in there and it tightens up, and then you're done. Your rental is done. There's no refund for that. You just are simply done in terms of your use of that particular machine. But you're still contracted for your time. So the only way that you can fix that is put them back on the trailer, putting the machine back on the trailer. You can get in there and you can cut out that rope. Other things that can go in there can be, you can get sticks and weeds, or you can suck up a bunch of rocks. And that's probably what ruins a rental faster than anything, is sucking up rocks. And when that normally happens is when people are too shallow and they take off with the machine. So it's important that when your drivers are on the machine, that they go really slow. They tool out until they're out of ways where it's deeper, and then if they take off, whatever it sucks up, it's going to be just water. It'll suck up everything within 8-10 feet, so you've got to have a little depth when you take off. And those, a wear ring is about $350. Impellers are a couple $100. So if you have to replace a wear ring impeller, it's probably about $750 or something like that. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to you got to be really careful about what gets sucked up in there. Each one of these machines is going to have a on each side is going to have a plug, and you just twist those in. When you're out, you can unplug those, but usually we send them and they should already be in, but you want to always check them before you put anything in the water. Make sure there's one right here and there's one right there. They're on both sides of the machine. So one thing that happens, that can happen, is with the storm, if you're taking on big waves, or if you turn over the machine and it stays turned over for too long and you get water in there, and then you start it up and suck up all the water in the engine, you're responsible for that. And the engine can hydrolock, and that's an expensive repair. So if for some reason the machine tips over in the water, upside down you'll see some verbiage. It'll tell you if you jump onto the top of the machine, use all your weight to pull it over and get it back upright. Then you let it sit for quite a while, and you open up the seat to see if there's any water in there. If there's a water up to the engine, you don't want to start that. You're going to want to get pulled back or whatever, and you'll want to get a cup, take all the water out of the bottom of the engine area, and then you can resume usage. If it does get tipped over and it sits there for too long, it is a boat, it's not a submarine, it will sink. And the more water you get in there, the bigger of an issue you have. So it's important, if it does go over, that you get it turned over as quick as you can. And again, look and see how much water has come in before you start it up, because you're responsible for that. When you fill these up at the end, make sure you do 87 octane or greater. They run on a little bit higher octane fuel. If you go to Lake Powell, at the end of Lake Powell, they have to be deconned. They run hot water through them, and when you leave Lake Powell, you want to make sure that they don't just inspect it, but that you get it deconned. If they're not deconned, we charge $150 for that, because we've got to send somebody down and get it done here when it gets back, or they can't go in any other body of water. One of the things to remember is that water never stops. It's always moving. It's always pushing your machine into stuff. And so when you come into a dock, you got to come in really slow and know that water's gonna slosh and push, and you get pushed up into the dock. And you want to make sure you're protected at the dock with bumpers. If you're at Lake Powell, there's a lot of different ways that you can keep the machine safe without having to push them up on the beach. Okay, so earlier I talked about our condition reports. We do one for each machine, and we'll notate possible scratching or things that are pre-existing on the machine, or any issues that we need to be concerned about. We even put down the condition of the impellers. Before the rental, we will go underneath them. We get up there with a flashlight and we take pictures of the impellers, or we'll see the impellers. We'll know what kind of shape they're in. So when your paperwork will put that shape down. Okay, the other thing that we have is the machine's going to have a inventory list. So they'll tell you what kind of keys on it, the flags, extinguishers, if there's travel covers and ropes, it'll tell you what's in there, and so forth. And so this is with each machine, so that we'll know what goes in and what's out. Just remember that whatever goes out has to come back in. And the machines, the way they go out is the way that we expect them to come back. If they don't, we have to assess what the issues are. And again, that's what the security deposit's for. And and we interact with you on those things at the end. Hopefully the rental always goes good, and the security deposit goes back. The way that we do all the money is when you do the reservation agreement at the very beginning, there's a $500 reservation fee that's taken, and that secures your time. That comes off the balance, so the rest of the rental is settlement comes off of whatever's left, the balance of what's left. The day of the rental, the day of the rental, we will do a pre-auth for the security deposit and a pre-auth for whatever's left for the balance of your rental. We do those in pre-auth, so if there needs to be an adjustment at the end, we can make an adjustment instead of pushing money back and forth. So again, there's a pre-auth at the beginning, there's a security deposit, which would be the $2,000, and that just sits on your card as a pre-auth, and then at the end that gets settled, and if there's nothing, any kind of issues, that just goes away. The one that we're going to settle on in most cases is going to be your security deposit on the rental itself. Let's say you went to PAL and you came back and you forgot to do the quagga mussel decon. In that case, we would add the quagga mussel decon on there, and so it'd be what was owed before plus the quagga mussel decon. So you can see why we do it that way. Okay, let's turn that off. We're going to want to cut that back off.
I was planning on cutting off